You know what the weirdest thing is? That Spider Noir, the teaser trailer from Prime Video didn't even come out on YouTube. Like, I see it from unofficial sites, but it is there on Twitter. But I will be reacting to the one from an unofficial site on YouTube. So the quality is 720, but yeah, it's still good. Let's check it out. I don't know why they didn't even like put it out. That is so weird. Let's see what Emergency Awesome has to say about it.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Have you seen what it's like out there? There's Spider-Man running all over the place. Sony finally released the first trailer for the Spider-Man Noir live-action
Noir.
TV series with Nicolas Cage coming back to do the character. We've been waiting so long for them to release footage of this. There's just so much stuff to unpack. Even though this is the first modern live-action Spider-Man TV series, really big deal, it is not the first time Marvel in general has ever done a live-action Spider-Man TV series. Surprisingly, if you remember, there was the classic 1970s Spider-Man TV series. There was also the Japanese Spider-Man TV series with Spider-Man, who we're supposed to see during Beyond the Spider-Verse in animated form. I've gotten so many questions about this since they announced it a couple years ago. They've been talking about doing live-action Spider-Man TV series at Sony for a long time. Lord and Miller were working on a number of them. This is just one of the ones that actually is making it to screen. Some of them have been canceled, like the Silk live-action Cindy Moon series. Lord and Miller are the same team that are doing the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movies. They're in the middle of Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse right now. That's going to be releasing in the next couple of years. So generally, it does seem like the odds of this being a quality series are much, much higher since they're the ones that are working on it. They're the ones that are actually making all this. In fact, I think one of the reasons why the other live-action Spider-Man TV series got canceled is because they got into arguments with Sony over the budgets of what those series would be. Sony wanted lower budget fare, more profitable. It makes sense that a large corporation would want more money. Lord and Miller wanted to spend more money to make them as quality as they needed to be. Of course, I will do videos for this when they start releasing episodes next year in 2026, so be sure to subscribe to get everything. They'll release bigger trailers later this year as we get closer and closer.
Wherever I go, the wind follows. And the wind, it smells like rain.
First big thing you notice, it is in black and white, like the Spider-Man Noir comic books, but they did say they're going to be releasing this series in both color and black and white. You'll probably just be able to select which episode you want to watch, the black and white one or the color one, when they start releasing them. So they'll release at the same time.
Like, that is even like double the work for them, because color grading, color coordination, like they have to do that. They have to pay money and do that.
Marvel also just did this with Werewolf by Night, where it was made to be in black and white for the most part, with a few color elements at the end for impact, but then later they turned around and released a full color version. I will go out and say that the black and white version of that is much, much superior to the color version. So we will see what people think of the black and white in the color versions of Spider-Man Noir. I'm going to guess that people are going to want the black and white versions more.
Yeah.
All this footage is giving a lot of Sin City vibes too back in the day, really taking me back.
I like
the reason why they released this now, as you can see, it says Amazon upfronts, is because the episodes will release on Amazon. They're in the middle of their upfronts right now, hawking all their wares for the next year, like, here's all the big TV shows we're going to be releasing. That's why we also just got a Fallout Season 2 teaser trailer video. I'll do a video for that next. But they're doing the same thing at all the other big studios this week, so do not be surprised if there's a bit of a trailer fest going on this week. The way that Lord and Miller and Amazon are talking about these episodes is that it's more based on the original comic book, Spider-Man Noir, and less on the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movies. So even though this is Nicolas Cage coming back to do the character again, I don't think that they're going to reference any of the events of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, or Beyond the Spider-Verse movies. Like, I don't think there are going to be any Rubik's Cube jokes where, like, it's the only colored thing in a big black and white series. And because Nicolas Cage, a bit of an older man at this point, he's going to be an older version of this Peter Parker Spider-Man Noir character in this universe, I think what they'll do is they'll speed run his origin story in episode 1. Then, for the most part, after like a brief montage, you'll see most of the episodes with him at his current age here. If you didn't read the original Spider-Man Noir comic book series, they also flow with his Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse version of the character too. Like, they all come from different time periods from the multiverse. Like, not all of them come from the exact same year in the universes that they came from.
Okay.
In his universe, he is from the Great Depression era, so it's a Great Depression
That's why it's
Spider-Man
black and
story.
white.
Like, what if Spider-Man, but during the Great Depression with that level of technology? He got his spider bite in a very different kind of way. While investigating a smuggling ring during the Great Depression era, Peter Parker is bitten by what seems to be a highly venomous spider housed inside a spider god idol, which you can see crawling across the trailer here. Like, oh, very clearly this is going on, and it looks like he's investigating something while this is happening. So they're basically just doing the original comic book for the series.
The city's a mess.
Now, here's where we see how close they
Man, that
stick
was
to
so
the actual comic book story, because
cinematic.
in that, all of his major Sinister Six villains, comic book villains like Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, the other main Sinister Six characters, are big characters in the story. So, for instance, Norman Osborn's Green Goblin is still the big villain, pulling all the strings, orchestrating everything, involving the other Sinister Six villains who all work for him in some capacity. But in the trailer here, you actually see this person from behind who's bald with a cane. This seems like Brendan Gleeson. I think he's meant to be playing the main villain of the series. He might be playing a version of Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. The woman who owns the club here
Not
is Felicia
Adrian.
Hardy, Black Cat. But like Dr. Octopus, the Lizard, Eddie Brock, Venom also exists in this timeline. Chameleon is a character. Kraven the Hunter, Sandman, Electro are villains. They have announced a bunch of other actors that joined the series, but they didn't say who all those actors are specifically playing. I think just to prevent spoilers for big comic book characters.
Yeah.
Within the context of the story, Peter works for Ben Urich, who's blackmailing Norman Osborn. Peter winds up learning about this. Norman Osborn then has Ben Urich killed. Sounds very familiar. Sounds a little bit like Daredevil Season 1 on Netflix when Kingpin killed
Yep.
Ben Urich for reporting on him.
Yep.
Then he vows to get revenge on Norman Osborn and creates his costume using elements of his uncle Ben's World War I era airman uniform, becoming the Spider-Man of this Great Depression era New York City. The Felicia Hardy Black
do
Cat
love
character
how he
owns a
looks like.
club, and she's a big character during the story. Vulture, Kraven the Hunter are characters. There's a bunch of other people that show up from the classic Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, but in different form because this is Great Depression era, so it's just an opportunity to do them in a different way. And generally, as the first big story arc ends, World War II is ramping up, so just to give you an idea for the time period.
Oh.
But essentially, it kind of winds up being Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six and Green Goblin who's controlling them, but in this past era. So I think it's a little bit easier for Amazon and Sony and Lord and Miller to do these characters that you would normally see in the big live-action Spider-Man movies because the series is so different looking and it's on
True.
TV. So I think it's more likely that Sony and Marvel, Kevin Feige, would let them do whatever they want to do with the series
True.
just because it is so different.
Little juicy nuggets.
They don't really say exactly when in 2026 we're going
Yeah.
to get episodes. We probably won't find out till a little bit later this year.
See,
when it's-
like the thing about it as well, I really like how different it is and how unique it is. This also
releasing-
reminds me of Fantastic Four trailer. I don't know how the movie's gonna look like, but the trailer itself showed the world that they are living in as back in the 80s, also having like some futuristic elements in it, like robots and stuff, but not really, like not having that in the 80s. So it's something unique, something different. You have all these like grain footage, you have like vintage vibes. So it's something unique, something different, and that's why it's pleasant for the eyes to see something like that. It's like a journey. You take a different journey, not all same with all the Marvel's movies and just a repetition with all this CGI and effects. So yeah, I do like how this definitely looks different than anything else.
More trailers, but also part of the idea is you saw when Kraven the Hunter came out, it was full Kraven time. Sony basically
I
had a
didn't
come to
watch it.
Jesus kind of moment
I
where
heard
they
it's so
decided to
bad.
completely reboot their whole Spider-Man line of movies that they were doing separate from Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man, like all
Yep.
the Spider-Man spin-off stuff
Didn't
that
watch
did
it.
not have Spider-Man in it before this. Even Venom seems like it's going to get a soft reboot with Tom Hardy saying that he was 3 and done in terms of the Venom movies. So that's why the end of Venom, The Last Dance, left there a bit of an out for them to reboot the character canonically, like another version of the Venom symbiote survived, but it's a slightly different spawn of the original Venom symbiote.
Yep.
There's still all the Noel God of Symbiote stuff that they can do forward with Andy Serkis if they want, But I think part of the idea, and a lot of people have actually theorized about this because we get more into Lord and Miller, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse stuff here. It seems like their long-term plan is to eventually finish the Beyond the Spider-Verse movie, and that'll be the end of animated Miles Morales' arc, and then they'll start
And then
doing
start with the
live-action Miles
live-action one.
Morales
Yep.
Spider-Man movies, but on the Sony side of things. Like, Sony will be making them. And he will become the Spider-Man in all their movies that they always wanted to have. They always wanted to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but Marvel, Kevin Feige, were trying to negotiate with them like, no, we don't need him in a billion different movies. It's going to water down the character big time and the quality will go way down. So now they can continue with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU movies with like Spider-Man 4, Brand New Day, Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6, whatever those turn into, in all the other big MCU movies like Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, without having to put Tom Holland in a billion different movies.
Yep.
And Sony can still make whatever movies
I
they
can't
want
believe how many Spider-Man movies are there and how many times we are gonna still go and watch a Spider-Man movie.
with
like the
Spider-Man,
best
but it
hero
can be a
out there.
totally different Spider-Man, and they don't have to completely play on the idea that there is a Spider-Man, but you never see him. Like, no, you'll actually be able to see him in all the movies. Which I think most people will agree is the path of sanity. Like, if Sony is never going to stop trying to make their own Spider-Man spin-off movies, they at some point need a Spider-Man. And if it's not going to be Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man or
think
Tobey
it's gonna be
Maguire's
Andrew.
Spider-Man
He's too
coming back,
old for
which
it.
would also be amazing. Like, why don't they just do that?
No, they're not gonna do that because if it succeeds, they want a plan of multiple movies ahead. And I don't think he is capable, whether because of his age or because of other. I don't think he just wants to be Spider-Man and nothing else. I think he wants to act in different movies as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they always tend to go with a younger actor. Like, look what happened with Superman as well. We all wanted. Henry Cavill, I forgot. Henry Cavill, and they gave us a younger version of Henry Cavill. The guy looks exactly like Henry, just younger.
Then they can just introduce live-action Miles Morales and just reboot with that creative. But at least as far as Amy Pascal has said, she's like the main Spider-Man person that works on the big Spider-Man movies over at Sony, that they're not going to be doing that live-action Miles Morales till after Beyond the Spider-Verse is done and out.
Not till we make 2 more movies.
In the way they talk about the Spider-Man Noir series with Lord and Miller, that sort of
Nicolas Cage,
survived
yeah.
the implosion that Sony just had with their Spider-Man universe of connected movies. They call it the Sony universe of Marvel characters, technically, but it's really like the Spider-Man spin-off universe. Really, they were all meant to take place on Venom's Earth, and Tom Hardy said that at a certain point they were planning on doing a big Tom Holland Spider-Man crossover movie, but all that wound up falling apart. It just sounds like Kevin Feige and the Sony powers that be that control that stuff on their side of things came to an agreement, and that had nothing to do with Sony's spin-off movies. They're like, we're not going to touch that stuff. I am sure there will be 1,000 videos once they reboot with Miles Morales in live action like, this is what happened. This was the end of the Sony Marvel universe as we knew it till they rebooted with live action Miles Morales. But because Nicolas Cage is such a big actor and they already made it into production, I think they just let this slip through the cracks. Like, we'll just let you continue with this because we are already spending all this money on it, so we'll just go ahead and release it. So hopefully it will get multiple seasons, but right now I'm just expecting them to do the one season and that's it, like one
just
and
to
done.
introduce a character,
Mostly because
yeah.
it probably cost them a crazy amount of money.
Yep.
But if there's any
That's
other
true.
Easter eggs or references that you spotted from the Spider-Man Noir comics or Beyond the Spider-Verse in this trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. Like I said,
like he
though,
wasn't
I think they're
talking
going
to
to
someone there. I
avoid
feel like he got
mentioning
bit
too
there.
much Beyond the Spider-Verse stuff during this. I think they'll just completely avoid that, and it'll just be them adapting that first Spider-Man Noir comic book arc. If you've not read it, it's out there. They published it a long time ago, so you can read the entire story right now if you want to. It is great. Maybe if we're lucky and they can do this on a decent enough budget, it's successful enough, and Nicolas Cage can come back for the right price, then they'll do more seasons. Things have
about
been
money.
pretty bad in the world of streaming recently. Like, we kind of moved out of that age where everything was able to have unlimited budgets. Like I said, though, they just released a Fallout Season 2 trailer video, so I'll do a video for that next. That should be up by Tuesday morning. Be sure to enable
Oh
alerts
my
for my channel so you
God, I
don't
need to
miss
go and
that.
check that
Click here
out.
for that video. I'll update
Okay,
the
that
link
was
as soon as
so
I post it.
cool.
And click here for my brand new Superman video.
I needed the explanation as well because I knew almost nothing about this Spider-Man version, and now I'm looking forward to it, especially that Nicolas Cage is in it.